Today's video is going to be a mishmash of many things. Initially, I wanted to show you how to add ankle cushion to your shoes, but since one of my online students is having some problems lasting the vamp part of his derby shoes, I'm also going to delve into that a little bit. He says the problem came from his lining tearing off. Maybe before we go into dealing with ankle cushions, I'll basically start from how to join the quarters of your derbies to the vamp, since that appears to be the root cause of his problem. And then we'll move on to how to add ankle cushions to the derbies. So like I said, it doesn't follow any particular order, but if you stick around to the end, you will learn a whole lot. So a mishmash of many things. Welcome to Bomo Bespoke. So first of all, this is how I stitch the vamp of my derbies. So stitch the tongue area first, and you have that out of the way. I really didn't plan to make any derbies, but since the gentleman I spoke about, one of my online students, is having problems with lasting the derby, I said, okay, let's make one pair and then we will use that to demonstrate it. So having stitched the vamp part, I cut around this part like so and cut a notch into the lining of the derby, the quarter part of the derby. I'll do the same on the reverse side, and that gives me clearance for me to move the lining completely out of the way such that I can place the quarter to the corresponding part of the vamp like so. So I've gone ahead to add glue to the stitching allowance part on the vamp, and then also the corresponding part of the quarter, and then tack it and secure it in place like so. And then you'll see that having that notch that we cut into the lining gives us, clearance for us to be able to stitch this without catching any part of the lining to the vamp while we are stitching. Any part of the vamp and the quarter will not be caught on the lining. So let's go ahead and stitch this up, and you'll see how that proceeds along. So put it on the sewing machine. Of course, the other part will go in like that, but let's go ahead and stitch the first part first of all, and then we'll do the other side. So lateral side goes under the sewing machine, and we will stitch away. I usually tell people that in stitching leather, it is precision that you require and not speed. So as you can see, I'm going as slow as I can. Even if you have to wheel the wheel of your sewing machine just to get precise stitches, especially around these curved areas, do that. Nobody is going to come and ask you how fast did you stitch. And then also, if you're using a domestic sewing machine like I'm doing, you can also duplicate things along and you'll not have any problem stitching whatsoever. So let's stitch this part. And then go 3 or 4 inches up into the vamp like so, into the quarter like so, and then go back. As you can see, the lining is completely out of the way, and you are able to stitch the quarter to the vamp without having any stress whatsoever. So you can see that the lining was completely out of the way, and then we can go ahead and you can see that the stitches are beautiful. So that gentleman also had some issues with stitching his vamp to his quarter, which is what I'm trying to demonstrate at the moment. So let's go ahead and stitch the other part. So for this part, we start from the facing part of the quarter, take our stitch 3 or 4 stitches in, back stitch to lock the stitch in place, and then we'll go ahead and follow the edge of your quarter to stitch it. I have a whole video on how to keep your stitching straight and without being wrinkled. I have a couple of tips on how to follow the edge so that you are maintaining a straight line with your stitch. do check the top right hand corner for that video, and you will be very well placed on your way to perfect stitches. So as you can see, this stitch is now all done and no problems at all. We will proceed right now. Like I said, this is a very mishmash video, so we'll proceed right along to do the ankle cushion. So that's the ankle cushion right there. This is the pattern of the entire shoe that I created, the entire derby. Now here is the derby all stitched up. Now the ankle cushion that you find at the back, this is the pattern for it that I created. So it is this same pattern. In that pattern, I have added quite a number of things. The pattern for the padding, the foam padding that I'm going to use to provide the cushion for the ankles, which is this. In my case, I'm using EVA really, and you see that there's some allowance at the top right there. I want to show you how that slots into the entire derby. So this is the foam pattern all cut out. So I'll basically cut out the foam and create like a pouch, a bag so to speak, where we will slot this foam into to create that ankle cushion. Let's proceed to creating the pouch that we require for the foam. Right, so this is the leather. This leather is a little bit too thick for your pouch, the pouch of your ankle cushion. I would suggest you use something like a light fabric, but whatever you're going to use something that's durable, something that will last. But in my case, this is just a demonstration video, so I don't mind using a thicker material like I'm doing. So you cut two parts of the same pattern, and it is with these two parts that we are going to now create a pouch into which the foam will slot. So let's cut out one part, add some glue towards the top, and then stitch that all up. Let's just quickly speed along and do that. So we'll place it the right face, the face of the leather will be on top of each other. The two right faces will be on top of each other. You don't place the grain side of the leather on top of the flesh side, no. Grain side on top of grain side, and then you will stitch along that stitching line that we have at the top area there. So you notice just before the curve right here, before that curve goes towards down, that's the place we are starting our stitching, and we're just going to stitch all along and conclude that stitching along this line right here. We'll stitch it all the way down to its corresponding part on the other side, and once the stitching is done, all that remains to be done is to trim out all of this excess on the other part, and then turn the pouch right side out. So let's go ahead and trim this out quickly. So just trim it as closely as possible, as closely as you can, and then you will turn it right side out. And then with these pen markings that we have on the inside, we'll use that as our guide in placing the foam, the EVA foam, into the pouch.